Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
We are live and welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. This is episode number 145 and I am your host, Funk Roberts. I'm a former professional athlete turned master metabolic trainer, certified hormone and testosterone expert, and a health and fitness guru. That's right, I said guru for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And I'm your host, as I mentioned before, and this podcast is for you, the man over 40, where we talk about how to naturally increase your testosterone levels. We talk about mindset strategies. We talk about workouts and nutrition. We talk recovery, sleep, supplementation, and health issues. And on today's podcast episode, we are going to talk about total recovery tactics, from physical healing to mental resilience. And this one is from one of my coaching calls, because in my Over 40 Alpha program, which you can join for $1 for 30 days, that's phase number one. You're going to get phase number one pretty much for $1, over40alpha.com. And yes, you get follow along workouts and you're training with the Funkster. Yes, you're going to get the world's best nutrition for men over 40, Metatest Boost Nutrition System. Yes, you're going to get recovery routines. You're going to get mindset strategies. You're going to get everything you need, including the Over 40 Alpha Brotherhood, the men all over the world who are on the same journey as you. But one of the things that we also do is every Friday at 9 a.m., we have our world famous live coaching calls, which sometimes go for 2 hours. Because I love to coach. I love to answer questions. I love to see people transform. If you haven't learned, I'm all about transformations over transactions, over just getting your money, over just getting you to like, to subscribe. The proof is in the pudding. I got to get you results. And so I love that. So why wouldn't I spend an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours, because you know I love to talk, giving you information and power, because knowledge is power, for you to better your overall health, your mind, and be the man you're supposed to be, to provide, protect, procreate for your family, for your kingdom, and for the community around you. And so I like to take those coaching calls that get really good feedback, whether it's live on the coaching call or during the replay. I get a ton of good feedback. This one was next level feedback of positivity, because today we're going to talk about the total recovery tactics, because recovery is one of my key pillars inside the Over 40 Alpha Brotherhood. In fact, it's one of the key pillars to health and naturally increasing testosterone. Recovery. Now, recovery, the umbrella has mental recovery and physical recovery. That's where my recovery comes in. Mental recovery. Because, guys, as you're going to learn, we have a lot of mental health issues that we probably are suppressing from when we were young. That is causing us to sabotage the decisions that we make in life, the decisions that we make in our health, and the decisions that we make in our relationships. There's a lot of stress on us right now. There's always been a lot of stress because we've got a purpose. And for some men, when you lose your purpose and don't have something to wake up for every day, that sends you down a very dark hole. And so the mental side of recovery, keeping our cortisol levels low, helping us, foster a healthy hormonal environment, helping us battle against chronic health issues that only start to become more prevalent as we get older. The mental recovery portion. What do we do to help with stress? What do we do to keep that chronic cortisol level down? What do we do to help us battle against PTSD or things that we've suppressed when we're younger? There's strategies behind that you do every day that you're going to learn about today in this episode. But it's not just the mental recovery. It's the physical recovery. because one of the key elements of our health is being able to work out, exercise until we die. But in order to allow us to do that on a weekly basis, we've got to have the recovery, the physical recovery strategies implemented so we don't get injured. So we are taking care of the pain that we may have, the imbalance, the body, our physical structure, our biomechanics, right? Reducing inflammation, preventing injuries, preventing overtraining, ensure that we don't accelerate muscle loss, but we're actually building muscle. So we've got to prevent it. We've got to repair our tissues. It's physical recovery. We've got to improve our mobility, improve our flexibility. What does that look like? And so today, we're going to cover both. We're going to cover the entire gamut of total recovery. And I know that you're going to love this because, again, it's the things that you don't learn. You may learn piecemeal, but you're going to understand why it's important to use certain types of implements in your recovery techniques. Sauna, foam rolling. And what can you do for your mental recovery? Yeah, of course, meditation. You hear about that. But truly, the power of meditation. I have a meditation program. 21-day meditation program. Working on a breathwork program for you guys. So, in general, you're going to learn about the power of total recovery and how you can start implementing it into your life so that you can be as healthy as you possibly can in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, not just for yourself. Of course, number one, you're number one. You can't be the man you need to be for people around you if you're not the man you have to be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. You need help. The days of, I can handle it. At our age, because we've been, I can handling it in our 20s, 30s, 40s, by the time we get to our 30s, by the time we get to our early 40s, some still want to, I can handle it. But I'm telling you, man, because of the structure and the foundation that was rocky from whatever you're suppressing, at some time, everything's going to fall apart. And when it does, it's going to be when the people around you need you the most. Then what are you going to do? I know what you're going to do. You're going to take heed at the information that you learn in today's podcast episode about total recovery, and you're going to start implementing your total recovery strategies from the information that I provide. And with that, my brother, I love you very much. Go to over40alpha.com, and for $1, you're going to have everything you need, not only to physically flourish, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you're going to do it alongside thousands and thousands and thousands of brothers that are on the same journey as you. So go to over40alpha.com, start that $1 trial. That's 30 days. You get phase number 1 pretty much handed to you, and I'm going to be there with you along the way. So what do you have to lose? Weight. What do you have to lose? Bad habits. What do you have to lose? Just the isolation, the loneliness. You don't need to do that anymore. You got your brothers, you got the funksters, and you got a program that is specifically designed for you to help you become the healthiest you can be. But listen to this podcast episode, learn about total recovery strategies, and I'll see you on the other side. Enjoy the podcast. So again, welcome to our coaching call, our Alpha Wisdom coaching call. And today we're going to talk about total recovery tactics, both physical and mental resilience. One of the things that is important, this is one of the main pillars. This is one of the main, recovery is a pillar in the Over 40 Alpha Brotherhood program. We have mindset, we have recovery, mental and physical, we have sleep, we have nutrition, we have workouts, and then we have supplementation. at the end. That's 6 pillars. So for this program, recovery is a main pillar. For health for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, this is one of the main 6 pillars. For naturally increasing testosterone, this is one of the main pillars. So recovery is a crucial pillar that we need to focus on as we're getting over. So today we're going to talk about both the physical and mental aspects, because it does have both. There are 2 ways to implement recovery into our lives, 2 ways to implement the techniques into our lives, and it will significantly not only enhance the quality of our life, but also optimize our hormones and help us with longevity. Plus, on a daily with our daily routines, with our the way we feel on a daily basis, the way we think about ourselves, the recovery piece, both physical and mental, are going to be very important. So that's why we're going to dive into that right now. So let's start off with, as I may always start off with, is what's happening to us. What are the physiological changes that we are going through? Because without talking about this part, whenever we discuss anything when it comes to our age group, right? 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. We must start with the physiological changes. We must start with what's happening to us in order to validate why we do certain things. If I just come on here and tell you, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do that, without giving you a precursor to, well, why am I doing that? Okay, yeah, I know that if I do this, it's because of probably, I'm going to feel better. If I do this, it's probably because I'm not going to be as sore. But yes, those are the things that you see on the surface that any single fitness person, health fitness expert on the planet will tell you, and what you'll hear on podcasts and people and read in magazines. So you already know a lot of that part. But when we dive into what's going on with our bodies and how this relates to ensuring that we battle against what's naturally happening or what's going on because of our lifestyle, then it makes more sense when you start to implement these things, because you can connect. Okay, I know why I'm doing this because of this, and this is going to lead me to death. I mean, listen, it's life or death. Like I always bring that up to people, because it is honestly life or death. We're at a point in our lives, in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, where the choices that we make with our health can literally lead us to a very quick death. Very quickly. Chronic illness, 100%. Death, it's going to come sooner than should have, because of lifestyle choices. Of course, there's going to be genetic stuff and all of those things, and that's why this is even more important. But imagine, because of the lifestyle that you led, you're getting, heart attacks, and you've got high blood pressure, and you maybe go to, you get, who knows, cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, just general cancer, strokes, like all of these things that are happening to people around us, men that are our age group, that we're seeing, all because of it's lifestyle that generally causes all that stuff. So we have that choice, right? So now if we think about life or death, right? Just with the chronic health issues, like that's one issue, but we do have the ability to live till we're 100, and to do that, I just watched a video of a 87-year-old woman deadlifting 4 plates aside. Of course, she's deadlifting 4 weights aside, because she takes care of her health and her body, and she's moving and doing the things that will keep her healthy. She didn't just probably start that, but she's doing it. And that shows, okay, great. These are the type of things I want to see. I want to see 90-year-olds sprinting. I want to see, 95-year-olds dancing. I want to see that stuff, right? Because you'll be led to be like, why do you want to live till you're 95, sitting in a wheelchair, rolling around? Well, I want to live to 95 because I want to, run with my kids up the stairs, with my great grandchildren. So we need to talk about the physiological changes. So number one, it's the decrease in testosterone, right? The testosterone levels naturally decrease 1% to 2% every year after the age of 30. So by the time we're 40 or 50 or 60, most men's, their T levels are super low. And our other hormones like estrogen and cortisol are high, right? And unhealthily high, because we do need some estrogen, we do need cortisol throughout the day, but when they're at a chronic state or when your levels are too high, then your testosterone levels will decrease. And testosterone is crucial for everything: fat loss, muscle growth, libido, fighting chronic health issues, energy levels, drive, mental health, everything. All of that is related to testosterone. You got low testosterone, you don't have a chance. It's going to be a very difficult road up if you're not living a life that's battling and naturally increasing testosterone. So that's one thing we have to fight. Decreased testosterone and unhealthy hormones. Hormone imbalance. Number 2, sarcopenia, natural loss of muscle due to aging. I saw another thing today. Somebody posted something about like, hey man, like, I mean, I've said it a couple times, but again, I like to see when other health professionals and fitness experts, whatever you want to call them, talk about the same thing where, hey, listen, like the natural loss of muscle due to aging, which is what sarcopenia is, starts around mid 30s, right? So, again, if we're not actively working out, and I'm not talking about going on walks, that's not working out. Okay, going on a walk is not walking the dog, going on a walk, that's not working out. Going on a hike, those aren't workouts. Okay, those are not workouts. Those are just going for a walk, going on a hike, and walking the dog, which really the dog's walking you, and really you're walking and stopping and walking and stopping. So and getting 10,000 steps is not working out. That's nothing to do with working out. That's just getting 10,000 steps. To battle sarcopenia, you have to be using resistance training. You have to be building muscle. You have to be tearing down muscle fibers. Because if you don't, sarcopenia will continue to be there and you will start to lose muscle, lose strength, lose bone density, and all of that functional abilities to do things on a daily basis will be gone in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I see it every day. I see it on my street every single day. And it's very sad to see young men, because I consider a young man 40 to 50, because I'm 55. So young men to me are 40s to 50s. You're still very, very young. You still got 60 years on to go of life. And so seeing just the weakness, it's a weakness. Because when you're not training and doing something hard and pushing your body and breaking it down and challenging yourself to do things that will build back up through the recovery techniques that we're going to talk about, you become very weak. Period. There's no, maybe if you were a tough guy or the what do you call it, the big man on campus or something, the man on campus, whatever it used to be back in the day. The rear view mirror is very small. So if you keep looking back at the rear view mirror, you're missing that shield in front of you. That's like what's really happening. You're looking back here at what I used to be and thinking you still are that person, but you ain't. I see a ton of tough guys who maybe used to be tough guys. I see them every week, to tell you the truth. Guys who used to be in gangs, in biker gangs, in prison, like all of these, like, the dregs and violent men of society who are now in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's a pity. They're a shell of themselves. The third thing is slowed metabolism, right? So our metabolism slows down. Now, this is not a physiological change, but it is a change due to our lifestyle. It is a change that leads to type 2 diabetes, to cardiovascular diseases, to obviously obesity. It's something that's a lifestyle change that's happened due to not working out, inactivity, or inactivity, not working out consistently, bouncing around from diet to diet. That messes up. Trying this diet didn't work, this diet didn't work, this diet didn't work, this diet didn't work. Unhealthy eating, all of those things will slow down our metabolism, will put our body into a survival mode, which slows everything down, holds on to the fat, and really and truly messes up with our overall health. And then we're more susceptible to chronic health issues, right? Like we're at the age now where, we got to go get our colon checked. We got to go get our prostate checked. And that prostate thing is like, it's one of those things that, like, I think it's like 1 in 3 I may be misquoting here, but I believe it's 1 in 3 men that Clark said will have some sort of prostate issues. Like 1 in 3, right? So now how healthy you are can dictate how you can battle that prostate issue, right? But we're more susceptible to strokes. We're more susceptible to heart attacks, to colon cancer, to all of those things that we try to put in the back of our heads. So how does this relate to recovery? Right? Because all of these factors that we talked about underscore the need for a dedicated recovery routine, right? Because we're going to, by enhancing our mental and physical recovery, we're going to be able to battle these age-related changes. The other age-related change that happens here too, sorry, I missed one of the most important one, is mental health issues. Mental health issues. And that is huge because that is leading to suicide rates that are unbelievable, unacceptable, specifically for men our age. Suicide is a real thing, which is why I also talk about this is life or death. Because we are the type of people men are the type of people who push down what we're struggling with. Not just what we're struggling with currently, but what's happened to us when we were kids. Right? Because a lot of times, a lot of us, we have past that we're ashamed of. Whether it's a past that has happened to us or something that we've done or it is something that we don't address. We actually push it down. Right? So we keep pushing it down. We keep pushing it down in our 20s, in our 30s, right? Because we got to be strong, right? We got to be that strong guy. We got to be like, I gotta provide for my family. I gotta put food on the table. I gotta put a roof over our heads. I gotta, go. But I also gotta make sure that, if I push this down, then I don't have to deal with it. But what you're not understanding is all of the things that happened to you in the past are causing you to make unhealthy decisions and have caused you to make unhealthy decisions for most of your life. Sure, there's a lot of us, what up, Dave Ford? There's a lot of us who, of course, like we've had success and there's, if we look back at our past, there's always like good roads that we took and good things that we did. 100%, man. There's so many things. But there's also a lot of things, our behaviors, are the things that like happen all the time. Why, like we chronically do certain things, maybe addiction, maybe you have like 6 wives, like the 6 divorces, 5 divorces, like the relationships that we have with certain people, maybe you go through jobs over and over again, maybe your health has gone up and down, like the choices that we have made in our lives. Or this is just the type of person I am. Oh, this is just the type of person I am. A lot of those times, not saying all, but a lot of those times is because we're pushing something down from what's happened to us in the past. Generally when we were kids, but again, everyone's different. So I'm not painting everybody with the same brush, but I'll tell you right now, we grew up in when because of our age. What up, Johan? Because of our age, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. I think all of us are Gen X people. When we were young, there was a whole bunch of crap going on. There were no phones. There were no cell phones. There was no social media. A lot of stuff happened. And, our fathers and our grandfathers and the men that were our age were, they were men, you don't talk about that stuff, man, So we were in an era where it's not like today when most people will shed light on stuff and it's a little bit more like acceptable. We were in an era where like a whole bunch of crap happened. I'm sure like if I talk to all of you guys one-on-one, each one of you could tell me something that happened to you before the age of 10. That's pretty traumatic. Pretty freaking traumatic. So when we push the stuff down, what happens is I use this analogy. All of that grows in the dark because we're not giving it light. When we shed light on it, it's like when you pour water on the Wicked Witch of the West and she melts. It's the same thing when you put light on something. It just the light will because you don't own it anymore, right? Here, when it's inside, I think someone said it best. It's like this is a life sentence. But as we get older, that gets stronger because we've been pushing it for so long that now we're at a point. Again, all of this is not happening like you're not consciously doing this. You're just not addressing it. So now when you're not addressing stuff like that, it's growing inside you and it's forcing you to make like unhealthy decisions. It's forcing you to sabotage yourself over and over again. In your life, you keep sabotaging. Like I see it in the brotherhood. Like people will do amazing for a year. They'll get a great freaking transformation and then they're gone. It's like, wait a minute, where'd you go? It's like you just worked so hard for a year. Your body looks amazing. Your health is probably better. Your relationships are probably better. And now you're gone. And a lot of that has to do with just sabotaging yourself because you don't believe that you deserve it. So you keep sabotaging. If you just look back at your life, I'm sure there's many things that you could be like, Jesus, Murphy, yeah, I sabotaged myself there. Well, yeah, I had this, and then I had this happened here, and then next thing you know, next time this happened, that was totally the opposite. Why wouldn't I just keep doing the same thing that got me to where I was going? Why not do the same thing that got you to where you're going? The proof is right there. You just showed yourself that you can do whatever you got to where it is. I'm going to use our health and fitness as an example. Why would you not continue doing it? It makes zero sense. Like if you sit back and look at, because we're older, man, we make sense. Like that makes no sense why you would do that. Well, it does make sense because if you have something that you haven't dealt with, then you're sabotaging yourself. You're sabotaging yourself because you feel like you don't deserve that. You may say it here, but actions speak louder than words. Because a lot of times people say, oh yeah, I deserve it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But then they're doing the opposite action of what they just said that they did. Because you have to do the things that get you there. And most of that is going to that journey is going to be a lot longer. We're not going to get that instant gratification. But we want that instant gratification, so we start to sabotage ourselves. So we got to deal with that stuff because that leads to suicide. That leads to depression. Because when you get so deep, you can't even see the light at the top. When you're deep in depression, when you are so deep, you can't do it by yourself. It's impossible. That's why you need this. And of course, we may have friends, and here's a great thing too, because we all have stuff in the past that now we should feel a little bit better to be able to like talk to other guys that in like specifically here, because we don't judge each other, right? And now that we understand that, hey man, we got to deal with this stuff. So that's another reason why the recovery is very, very important. So let's start off with workouts, right? So recovery from workouts. So recovery from workouts are going to help us a few ways. It's going to help repair the tissues that we damaged during our workout. I mentioned before that when we're actually working out, when we're actually, lifting the dumbbells or doing push-ups, if we're doing body weight stuff, or if we're using the kettlebell, if we're swinging, or if we're using the resistance bands, and we're working out, we're damaging tissues, muscle fibers, tissues. And so in the gym or when we're working out is when we are actually damaging everything, creating a catabolic environment. So we need recovery to help us start to repair, right? To accelerate the repair of tissues. So, and we also need the recovery process, recovering from workouts, to allow us to allow our muscles to get stronger, to allow our muscles to get healthier. And because of that, we're preventing muscle loss. And we're preventing muscle loss, enhancing our performance, because now that we are using recovery from our workouts, in what I'm going to show you, we're using recovery from workouts, we're going to battle sarcopenia, we're going to recover faster, we're going to enhance our performance. And so the physical recovery is going to help us in our workout realm, right? Battling sarcopenia. It'll also help us in the inflammation reduction because we are causing inflammation when we work out, right? So when you're actually working out, you're actually causing inflammation. Now, this is good inflammation because your muscles and body needs that inflammation, but it's a chronic inflammation that links us to diseases, that links us to, arthritis, that links us to joint pain, that links us to lower testosterone. So activities like foam rolling, activities like stretching, activities like warm-ups and post-stretch are significant. Like it is not even a question that we need to implement that, because maybe it may not happen right after that same workout. Maybe be able to get away with it for a week or two. But when now it's the third and fourth week and you're not foam rolling and you're not stretching after and you're not warming up and you're not doing anything that will actively help reduce inflammation, then you start getting injuries. And a lot of times most people will blame the injury on what just happened at that actual point, unless it was something that was, like traumatic, something hits you or whatever. But, you may be doing a chest press and all of a sudden you messed up your shoulder. It's like, oh my God, I messed up my shoulders by doing that chest press. I wasn't doing it properly. But perhaps if you were not implementing your recovery, that thing happened 2 weeks before when you stopped doing the recovery or when you stopped stretching after or when you stopped doing mobility. And now it was just this workout where everything snapped or popped or, got injured. It wasn't necessarily you could have been doing a perfect chest press. You could have been doing it perfectly, but it was just the volume, the intensity at the time, and of course the lack of recovery catches up to you. And when we get older, so another thing that happens, our joints aren't as strong as they were, right? Because we're losing cells every single year. So we need to make sure that we're keeping our joints strong and healthy. The third thing is injury prevention. And this is a big one because when we get injured, if you've ever been injured, how frustrating is it? Specifically, if you have been making great strides in your overall health. You haven't missed a workout. You haven't missed a mobility or recovery routine. You've been eating super healthy. All of those things are great, but then you get injured. Right? And maybe you've been doing a lot of great things, but there was a couple of, holes in the recovery that led to an injury. Maybe you weren't warming up all the time because of time. Maybe you don't stretch after because you'd rather do the ab finisher than the stretch. But the stretch is more important because the ab finisher or ab or core you can do anytime. Right? But the stretch you need to do after the workout. It's not about, I'll stretch later. Well, later's too late. Later is way too late. The inflammation, your muscle tightness, the DOM starts to go into effect. It's too late. Like you can stretch later on if you've also stretched before, but pushing the stretch to I'll stretch tonight from the workout, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So now you're doing great, and then boom, you injure your shoulder, you injure your knee, you injure your back, you injure your elbow, you got, tennis elbow. And how frustrating is that? Because now that puts you back. You can't work out. Although, one of the things we'll talk about in another episode is how to work out when you're injured and how you have to work out when you're injured, depending on the type of workout that it is or injury that it is. But it's so frustrating, right? It sucks, man. It sucks. And it just derails everything that you're doing. And then a whole bunch of other things start. Then you start, now I can't work out. Now the mind starts playing tricks on you, right? Because now it's now I can't work out. So why do I need to eat healthy? And, all of these things start to happen. And then you start to get down on yourself. You start to get depressed. You start to, all those things happen. So we want to prevent injuries. We want to prehab. We want to make sure that we're incorporating mobility work. We want to make sure that we have proper warm-ups, and we maintain joint health. We maintain mobility in our hips, mobility in the back, right? core strength, all of those things that are going to help with injury prevention. And then preventing overtraining. So this is really important too, because we have to listen to our body and we have to recognize the signs of overtraining, right? So what are some of the signs of overtraining? Well, if you're always sore, no matter what phase you're in, no matter what week you're in, you're always getting sore. That's not good. Muscle soreness we're not doing this for muscles. The only time you should be getting muscle soreness is if you're doing either a new movement, a new phase, or you're incorporating some type of a new exercise, or you've done, or a new maybe you went out to play basketball and you haven't played basketball in years, or football or whatever. 100% you're going to be sore. Maybe, like for me, for instance, on Tuesday when I shot a video, my ego decided that, hey, why don't we do plyometric side lateral step jumps in this workout, right? So I'm doing lateral step ups is what we're supposed to do. I'm doing it with Angela, and that's one of the workouts in the German volume training phase. But I decided to jump. I decided in the last round I'm going to do 40 seconds of jumps. Well, my quads all week have been insanely sore. My quads, my glutes, my hamstrings, my calves, my upper body, everything. Because plyometrics is it uses type 2 muscle fibers. Those muscle fibers that a lot of us lose because we're not jumping, we're not sprinting, we're not using plyometrics as much. You guys will be, for sure, in the Muscle Academy and in Alpha Prime a little bit more. But because I haven't been doing it for a long time and I started to implement it, I got sore. If you're starting a new phase, right? You've been doing this certain phase. Now you're starting a new phase because new phases have new exercises, or even if they have the same exercises, they're programmed in a different way. The actual protocol may be different. So those definitely warrant muscle soreness. But if you're consistently getting sore, if you're always fatigued, if your performance decreases, like you just can't get that killer workout, right? You're just always like, I feel like, man, I can't get the workout, or you have sleep patterns that are disturbed. That means you're overtraining. And most times, which is the reason why, specifically if you're new to this program, we only work out 3 to 4 times a week. And at our age, that is what our body can handle, because recovery is one of those things that also decreases as we get older. The ability to recover from workouts, the ability to recover from daily activities, the ability to recover from a long day of work, the ability to recover from if you go out and have drinks or even one drink, the ability to recover from one beer, one glass of wine, one drink can be hectic for most of us as we get older. So we got to prevent overtraining. And so how do we do this? What techniques can we implement? Well, we can implement foam rolling, right? So foam rolling is like by far something we can do literally every day. It's like 5 minutes. I have the foam rolling challenge, foam rolling program that you literally do 5 minutes a day. You just pick one body part and you foam roll. You can do that at night. You can do that in front of the TV. Like that's why we have a foam roller downstairs. It's so crazy because we have a friend, and when she comes over to our house, we'll be sitting in the living room and she'll pull out the foam roller and she won't even miss a beat. It's so smooth the way she does it. She's just like, yeah, so, last week we had this happen, and then, oh yeah, it was crazy. You should have seen what's her name. It was unbelievable. Oh, man, I couldn't even believe, like, she's talking and foam rolling at the same time because she does it so much, and she realized, oh, I got a chance to foam roll. Bloop, let's plop it in. Let's just start foam rolling. We're all just chilling out, right? We could do it in front of the TV. Maybe at nighttime when you're just kind of like you're bringing the body down, right? We want to bring everything down, cortisol down. We want to, central nervous system, let's bring it down. We want to keep the cortisol down, get that melatonin levels up. We want to prepare for bed. Let's start doing some good recovery, right? We can do breath work as we're foam rolling. Like it's only 5 minutes a day, right? So break down your day. Okay, if I do this 5 minutes a day for every single frickin' day, you know how amazing the blood circulation is going to be using myofascial release, which is what this is. You know how great my tissue tension will be reduced. I'm gonna have less soreness. I'm gonna have a faster recovery. I'm gonna have better joints, right? So, like for me, this is the funk roller. Why do I have this? Well, because I know that if I'm foam rolling every day, a smooth foam roller ain't gonna work for me after a month. It's not gonna be hard enough. Not saying that you have to pressure, but the more you do it, that means the more your joints are going to have that circulation. The muscles are going to have that circulation. So you're going to need a little bit more pressure. So I like these. Before I was a smooth guy, but then the smooth, wasn't working. So I invented this because we have a little bit of a smooth surface here, but we also have the rugged surface. But whatever, and it's smaller so that we can get into these little areas here, and it's easy to carry around and have. But once again, it's those gentle pressure, slow movements that you do, and you start to really, you're setting your body up for recovery, and it only takes 5 minutes a day. Myofascial release. Now, one of the things, moving on, a great segue is warm-ups and post-workout stretching. Now, the warm-ups are extremely important on many levels. So as you guys move into Alpha Prime, and then, of course, I think in the Over 40 Muscle Academy, and in some of Kettlebell Spartan Academy, I implement my Dynamic 6 warm-up. So I have two different types of warm-ups. I have the metabolic warm-up, which is more, there is some, activation, there is a bit of mobility, and there's, that central nervous system warm up to get the blood going. But I also have my Dynamic 6 warm up, which is more programmed for specific things. So starting off with myofascial release. So we start the warm up with this, like we pick an area, and then we foam roll for a bit, and then we move into some mobility work, right? So we're opening up, right? We're opening up the body. So we'll pick an area that needs to get opened up, and there's mobility. Then there's activation, right? So we got to activate before, because here's the thing too, like if let's say we're doing an upper body workout, we want to start to activate and turn on the muscles that are going to be needed the most for that specific exercise, that are usually turned off, right? Because if we're always like this, we want to activate. If we're sitting down all day, we want to activate the glutes. So activation is important. Corrective exercises are important. So like there's specific exercises like the push-up, the squat. There's certain things and movement patterns, that lunges specifically, that we need to master those movements. And so practicing some of those movements in the warm-up before you actually perform it is part of the Dynamic 6. And there's core movement patterns that if we do them the right way, in a safe way, and learn how to do it, and listen to the cues, you're going to set yourself up for a much more effective workout. And then we have the central nervous system that we're turning on, because our central nervous system needs to be turned on when we're doing a workout, which means that's when we do something fast, like jumping jacks or running on the spot or something that, those jumps to wake up that central nervous system. And now your body is primed to execute a workout. It's ready. It's primed. You still may need to do a couple of warm-up sets depending on what the workout is, but it's primed. It's ready, right? It's ready for no injury during the workout. Because that's what it is. You want to you want to reduce injury risk. So when you're warming up, the warm up almost has to be like as important as the workout, because if you're not warming up properly, you're not going to get that workout. So you have to, sometimes, again, I don't know much about how you guys are warming up, if you're just following, if you're just kind of like going through the motions, if you're not really truly paying attention to the warm up, you're just kind of like trying to get the warm up done quickly, or I'm going to go for a run and then I'm going to come back and kind of quickly do the warm up. listen, the last thing you want to do is go for a long run, come back and do a warm up, right? Because now you're spending the whole time doing a warm up, and it's a workout. The warm up is set up in a short time frame to allow you to execute your workout to the best of your ability without getting injured. So now you do the warm up, you're feeling good, blood's flowing, you're enhancing muscle performance because you've activated areas that are generally turned off. And then we do the static stretching after. Again, extremely important. Static stretching trumps your abs and core if you're short on time. Right? At our age, again, when I was 20 years old, when I was in my 20s, and I was playing at the highest level, I never stretched, man. Like, it's unbelievable. I never stretched. And still played at top level. I won tournaments. I ranked third in Canada. I represented my country. Like, I warmed up, but the warm up that I was doing, now I wish today I knew better because, it wasn't until the end of my career when I was actually at the best, was near the end. At the beginning of my career, I was at my best, and at the end of my career, those were my best years, bar none, on the beach anyway. And so at the end of my career, because I had more knowledge, my warm-ups were very specific to ensuring that I had a better game. So I was doing a lot of this stuff, like, shoulder stuff, and I was actually, running around on the beach and doing these little star things because I was trying to mimic things that I would be doing in a match, and I didn't want when I did it in the match to be the first time I was doing it. So if I was more of a defensive player because I'm a little bit shorter. So a lot of times I would be standing behind my blocker and I'd have to sprint to the other side of the court, because back when I played, the indoor court and the sand court was the exact same size. So before my game, I would actually be going back and forth, up and down, back. Like, I would do that a whole bunch of times. I got dirty because I didn't want to be the first time someone shoots a ball over my partner, I'm there already. Because my body already knows that, has already done it. And it's in the same vein as the warm-up, but also the stretch. I wish I stretched before, but I didn't. So I'm paying for it now. But stretching after is so important, because what this is going to do is, it's not just about, it's not like you're going to get more flexible. Like, stretching doesn't help with your flexibility. There's specific type of stretching that helps you with flexibility. There's specific type of stretching that you have to do that will help you become more flexible. What this is doing is just decreasing the stiffness in your muscles, allowing you to just calm down and bring the cortisol levels down, right? And again, speed up that recovery process so that the next time you train, you're ready to go. So again, specific warm-ups, making sure that you're stretching after, taking a little bit more time, whether using range of motion stretching or just regular stretching, holding static stretching. It's static, but that's what you want. And then the other thing we use physically is mobility exercises, right? So range of motion, mobility. We talked about back pain, but man, this is like a full day recovery routine, not full day, but recovery day, right? Our recovery day is mobility, or it's yoga or Pilates, anything that will help us to open up, that'll help our the wear and tear on our cartilage, helps with our mobility because of our daily life as we're closed down. So we need to open up, because, I've mentioned in the past, like last week, that a lot of our injuries are not due to the specific muscle or joint that we injured. A lot of times it's based on the fact that we don't have range of motion. We don't have the mobility in certain body parts that need the mobility. So other body parts, other muscles, other joints are overworking. Right? So we need ankle mobility. We need knee mobility in health. We need hip mobility. We need shoulder mobility. Right? So we need to open up our thoracic spine, and we need to be doing that on an ongoing basis. So it almost becomes, the recovery routines become more important. But you don't just have to do mobility. You can do range of motion stretching. We can do metabolic stretch. I call it metabolic stretch, like hyperbolic stretching, which is like what I'm really into right now. I guess I've been saying that for a while, but I stopped and focused on the glute med stuff. But now it's May, so it's back to hyperbolic / metabolic stretching, where now you are in a stretch position, but you are contracting the muscle in the stretch position, because that's what's going to help you become more flexible, because now the muscle is stronger in the flex position because you've been contracting it. So if it's become stronger in that, that extended position, whatever the position that you're in, then your body's going to go, okay, no, my muscle, it's strong enough to hold that position longer and safer. So now your body allows you to go a little bit deeper now, because you've got that flexibility, because you've been contracting it. Just flexing and then just stretching and then not like flexing, everything just goes back to where they were. Again, very good for after workout, what I talked about, but in general, the type of stretching that you want to do if you want to become more flexible is that. But then yoga and Pilates are huge. Again, yoga. It's not just about mobility as well. It's about core strength. It's about stability. It's about balance. It's about flexibility, better posture, reduced stress levels. That all comes with doing a yoga and Pilates routine. And for most of us, it's going to be very difficult at first. I would really advise you guys to go back and do Veronica's original yoga routines, like the 40-minute ones. Man, those are great. Now, she moves really, really fast, so I'd probably do the other ones first, but they are so challenging and so good, and you just feel much better and your body feels better. Yeah, it's just great. Other techniques you can use is a sauna, right? There's lots of studies that show, I have studies for all of the stuff that I've been talking about. So let's talk about, sauna use for recovery, right? Sauna use for recovery, is great. It's just the repeated sauna treatment on patients have shown that, in the study showed that they had better recovery from their workouts. Also showed that it's great for muscle, right? Because the heat shock proteins, which play a significant role in muscle repair and the prevention of protein breakdown, happens from the heat stress of a sauna. So you get in a sauna after a workout or whenever. You don't have to be exactly after workout. Of course, there are studies that show that getting in after workout is great. You can get into a sauna. You can do your stretching in the sauna, depending on the type of sauna you have. But that is really good for, the heat shock proteins that get released which again will play a significant role in muscle repair, because remember, we just broke down our muscle. It's going to be great with people, battling dementia, battling Alzheimer's, battling pain and recovery. All of those things are beneficial using a sauna. Myofascial release. There's studies that show it helps with recovery and flexibility and muscle soreness. So that's great. There's other things that you can use too. I'm not a very massive fan on this. I don't personally I think there's a time and place for this, and I think that what happens right now is everyone just gets on this fad. I think this is actually a fad. I honestly do. Okay, I honestly think this is a fad, but this is just my opinion, but I honestly think cold plunge therapy is a fad. The sauna, 100%. Cold plunge, I think it's a fad. I really do. There's a time and place. If you're a football player, or you are involved in CrossFit, or you are involved in track and field, or you are involved in MMA, martial arts, 100%. Getting in that cold plunge is going to be great. It's a great way to reduce muscle inflammation. It's a great way to reduce soreness. It's a great way to help enhance your recovery. Flush out, waste products. But the reason why I'm saying that it's a time and place for that is because in those sports specifically, maybe running too, you're doing something on a daily basis. Like if you're training for a CrossFit event, you're doing it pretty much every day, right? If you're a football player, specifically during preseason, or not preseason, but training camp, woo! Because training camp is brutal. It's brutal because everyone's fighting for a place on the roster. So the violence that goes on during training camp and the intensity of just not even physical intensity, but the mental intensity of trying to figure out all the plays and stuff. Cold plunge for sure, because you got to get back on and do it again. Like you're getting the picture here. Like there's times in play for a 45-year-old man who's training 3 days a week, 3 to 4 days a week. There's better ways to do this, man. There's better ways. Okay. Now, will all of these charlatans tell you about cold plunging being the best and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah? Sure, they will. And listen, I'm not saying like don't cold plunge it off. You have the ability to. But if I had to choose, it's sauna every day, all day. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No ifs, ands. And the reason, and I did cold plunge with the Wim Hof workshop, and the reason why Wim uses cold plunge, because he doesn't just use cold plunge, he doesn't just use cold stuff, he also does stuff in the extreme heat and desert and extreme mountains, but he just uses the cold to teach you how to breathe when there's a lot of stress on the body. So using the Wim Hof breathing techniques is used in stressful situations. Well, how can you incorporate a very stressful situation on a regular person? Throw them into a freezing cold plunge. Take them to on a mountain climb or in the middle of the desert on a 100-kilometer walk or whatever he does with no shoes on. You know what I mean? I personally have never really got any benefits from a cold plunge. I've cold plunged, and it's never given me any benefits. That's just me. But anyway, I digress. Massage guns, really good too. I have a massage gun downstairs. Again, just easy to use, improves your circulation, helps with tight muscles, helps with your range of motion, specifically if you're doing certain things. So there are like gadgets that you should have in that toolbox, your recovery toolbox, that you can go to on a daily basis or when you feel like you need to. And there's other techniques, but in general, the physical recovery piece, which starts with your warm-ups, ends with the stretch around your session, incorporates mobility or yoga or Pilates. I'm really, truly like, I had a guy who did sports Pilates, but I got to really go back to him and see if we can create something, because I really feel like Pilates is something that's really good for us guys as we're getting older, specifically because it does help with our pelvic floor. It helps with core. It helps with flexibility, etc. Yoga as well, for sure. I'm going to get in touch with man yoga. Those routines are fantastic. So like implementing the mobility or yoga or Pilates or whatever, that's like understanding the benefits of the physical recovery, and then making sure that you're foam rolling on a daily basis, doing a lot of, if you have a sauna, again, we're looking into building out a sauna, like a portable sauna. I have that portable small sauna, but now I'm looking at, I was talking to my boy Jeff, and I believe he got now they're stand-up sauna, so now I'm looking into getting a stand-up sauna. That's like, inexpensive, right? But you got to pick the right one, because, the seated one is okay, but the stand-up will be just that much better. Anyways, so, we're always trying to like optimize 2.0, you know what I mean? Specifically if we got the baseline foundation of recovery in place. But then there's the mental recovery, right? The mental recovery is important, because what this is going to do is it's going to help battle stress, to battle cortisol, to battle chronic cortisol. Because I explained in the beginning that we are battling our hormones, right? Testosterone, which is our number one male hormone. It is responsible for everything. I'm telling you right now, if you have testosterone levels under 400 and you haven't been doing anything, you gotta, like, this is it, because it's rapidly decreasing. It's not going to increase. If you're not doing anything, it's going to decrease, and you're going to feel the effects physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Manhood, your libido, it's all going to go downhill. Chronic cortisol, elevated cortisol levels. Remember I talked about the hypothalamus and the pituitary gland. Remember when I talked about testosterone, I mentioned that because how it's made, the hypothalamus shoots out gonadotropin release hormone to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland then releases follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone, and both of those go down to the testes. The follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for helping our sexual health in the testes, right? So keep making sure that your estrogen levels are healthy, and that we have a healthy sex life. And then our luteinizing hormone is going down to the laid egg cells, and the laid egg cell opens up the door. And luteinizing hormone looks for cholesterol. And if there's no cholesterol, then there's no testosterone production. There needs to be good cholesterol. So the reason why I'm saying that is because if you do remember, throughout the day, your testosterone levels go up and down. Your body will use testosterone where it needs to based on what's available, right? The bioavailability of testosterone, the 2 to 3% of your total testosterone that your body actually uses, which is why you got to increase your testosterone levels. And so, but throughout the day, how does your body know what to use? Well, your hypothalamus and the pituitary gland, they're there monitoring everything, right? They're monitoring what's going on in your body throughout the day. But then when you have elevated cortisol levels, the cortisol levels, what they do is they bring a cloud that the pituitary gland and your hypothalamus cannot see through. It's this dark cloud, or actually it's a very thick white cloud that they can't see through. It's very thick white cloud that they cannot see through. And the problem is, if they can't see what's going on with your body, then they won't be able to see where and when your testosterone levels need to be used, and they're just going to shut down the whole process. They're going to shut down the factory. It's like, you know what? We can't even do it. This guy's cortisol levels are just blocking everything. How do we know what to use, when to use, right? Because chronic cortisol, we do need cortisol. Like in the morning when we wake up, cortisol levels are high. Throughout the day, our cortisol levels are high. It allows us to, it's like the fight or flight. It's like it allows us to be focused and there. And when we're working out, our cortisol levels are high. Right now my cortisol levels are high, but when it's always high because we are stressed, we aren't taking care of ourselves mentally, we are not eating healthy, all of those things that happen when we have chronic cortisol. Not only that, it reduces our metabolic functions, it reduces our testosterone levels, and that's when you start getting all of those other chronic health issues that happen when you have, stress levels that are high, right? Heart stuff. And so with excessive cortisol, you're going to get increased fat storage. You're going to get it's going to break down your muscle. When you have too much cortisol, your body's going to break down muscle that you're trying so hard to actually build. There's people who will work out so hard and their workouts are sublime. They're amazing. 10 out of 10 every single time. And they still can't build muscle. Like their body literally doesn't change. And it's so frustrating for them because they don't understand why. And they're like, well, I don't know, man. I don't get a really good sleep and I'm really stressed out at work right now. And my food hasn't been the greatest, but my workouts are amazing. And I haven't missed a workout in 3 months and my body still looks the same. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at what you just said. You're stressed all the time. You don't eat healthy, and you don't get sleep. The stress and the cortisol right there is going to negate most of the stuff. The sleep, of course, because that's when recovery happens. That's when your muscles repair, right? And the nutrition is part of the whole. You got to feed your body what your muscles need so that they can repair. So, of course, muscle breaks down. Of course, with less muscle, right? Your body's going to, and I'm not saying muscle turns to fat, but when you have less muscle, you're less metabolic, so you're going to have more fat. You're going to have a weaker immune system. So you're going to get sick all the time. You're going to get injured all the time. So we need to focus on helping reduce chronic stress. Also, mental and physical health. We talked about that before. There's a lot of things that we need to address, but listen, man, we've just lived a life of increased pressure. There's a lot of pressure on us. Pressure from our careers, pressure from our family responsibilities, societal pressures and expectations, pressures from ourselves. I mean, we're the worst on ourselves. We beat ourselves down worse than anybody on this planet. The way we treat ourselves, the way not everybody, but the way we talk about us to us is horrible. You would never say those things you say to yourself to anybody else, ever. You know, like stupid, 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 stupid. Why did I do that? Like that kind of stuff. You easily say it to yourself sometimes. I'm speaking from experience because I used to say that a lot. It's like stupid, stupid. A friend of mine used to say that, and then I took it from him. I'm stupid, stupid. And then Angela's like, "What are you doing? Don't do that." In like 8 years, I haven't done that, but it's like, imagine like the things that we do just to ourselves. Meanwhile, we have all of this pressure. Plus, we got mental distress will cause heart disease, will cause hypertension, will cause poor recovery from physical activities, will cause a complete breakdown. Like I advise you guys who watch Joe Rogan's podcast, I advise you to watch the last podcast with Chris Stefano. Tell you a quick little story about this. Chris Stefano, if you don't know who he is, he's a comic, okay? He's just a comic in New York. And 6 months ago, because I watched the episode 6 months ago, he was on, and you guys may relate to this. This is why I'm telling you this. He was on another show with Andrew, the redheaded guy, if you guys know who he is. He's also a Santino, Andrew Santino. He has a podcast. Comedy is very big in this house. Angela loves comedy, so she watches a lot of comedy podcasts. But when he was on this podcast, he was telling Andrew Santino, he's like, yeah, so I just sold my house for like $300,000 under asking because I got this new gig at Radio City and I wanted to move my entire family to downtown, so I'm walking distance. And he's telling Andrew Santino, it's like, but didn't you just do like kitchen renovations to that house? Yeah. Isn't that house like your dream house? 5 bedrooms, pool? Yeah. Don't you have kids? Yeah. But I need to be focused on this gig that he got. So at that point, he'd moved them to a 2-bedroom apartment, renting a 2-bedroom apartment after selling their house for $300,000 less. And they were going to get a new condo. Fast forward to the Joe Rogan podcast that I want you guys to listen to, because even that first 15, 20 minutes, you may relate to a lot of the things that were happening, because what he did is, well, what's happening in my life right now, 6 months later, because Joe didn't know what was happening, but Joe knows that there's a whole bunch of other things happening, is that, he had a complete breakdown. He sabotaged not only himself, but he has a lot of anxiety. And so what that anxiety did, because he's got a lot of things he hasn't dealt with, is it caused him to make irrational decisions that not only affected him, but affected his family. So selling a beautiful house that their family just did kitchen renovations on for $300,000 less than asking price, which not only affects him and the family because they didn't get enough money, but also affects the neighborhood, because now that brings down the value of the houses in the neighborhood. Then he moves to a 2-bedroom apartment that they have to move out of because they have cockroaches in that apartment. So now they move somewhere else because that condo that they were supposed to get fell through. And then the thing that really caused him and forced him to caused him to make the decision to go into therapy and start to unpack what's going on, where he got all this realization, was his daughter said, his 8-year-old daughter said, he said, oh, isn't this all great and everything? He's like, Dad, I'm not happy, actually. I'm happy for you because you're happy, but I'm not happy because I had to leave all my friends. I had to go to some place where I had cockroaches and, I had to leave school and you uprooted me, and not happy. So what happens is when we start to, this is a really good episode to listen to, just that part, because it shows that like when we are where we're not, and our mental health isn't there, when we're stressed, when there's so much pressure, because he's feeling so much pressure. He's the only person that provides for his family, right? So no one else works, so he's the only one that works. So his rationale was, well, I have to crush it here. So I have to make sure that I put myself in a great situation. So I'm going to uplift my family, move them somewhere else so I can make sure that I, do well because I'm the only provider. Meanwhile, if you just listen to what I said, that makes no sense. Why would you even do something like that? Right? Because your mind's not making rational decisions. You start making unrational decisions. You start doing things that aren't going to lead you to where you need to go, right? Like you stop doing the things that got you to where you were, which is why I touched on that at the very beginning. When you're stopping, like you get all this success because he was pretty successful at the time he did all of this. This wasn't a I'm not successful thing. He was actually having great success, selling tons of tickets. Everything was great. But because of the pressure that he felt and the anxiety that he has and mental health issues that he has, it's caused him to make unhealthy and decisions for everybody. And that's another pressure on us. See, we are the ones making the decisions for our families and for our grandkids and for our kids and for people around us. We need to be focused. We need to be able to make the right decisions. We need to be able to, but making the right decisions doesn't just start in one place. It's your entire life. You got to start doing the things that, okay, if I put these things in place and keep doing it, yeah, you may not get the results in 2 months, in 3 months, in 4 months. But it is impossible, as I mentioned yesterday, it is impossible for you to transform your body, your health, and your life if you follow this specific thing. I'm just talking about this for 1 year. Impossible. There's no person on this planet who's followed this program 100%, by the way, not kind of followed it, not sort of followed it, that doesn't get 100% results. I say a year, 100% happens before, but if you think about that, I'm going to commit to a year to doing all of these things because after 2 or 3 months, it just becomes a lifestyle, but you have to be consistent with it. But we also have to incorporate things that are going to help us mentally make those decisions, mentally have the fortitude to stay outside our comfort zone. If we're not taking care of that, right? Because not all of us are going to be 100% mentally. We're not all David Goggins and Joe Rogans. But if we're taking care of those things, if we're implementing things that are going to keep us in a state where we can make better decisions, we have the drive, we have the focus, and we have tools to use when things go awry and when we just, okay, this is really chaotic. Okay, I gotta go to the toolbox. Then we start making unrational decisions. We start making unrational health decisions. We start making unrational work decisions. And so we're at the time of our lives right now where we are being thrusted into the highest part of leadership for our families as the patriarch. So you can't do that in a healthy way when you're unhealthy yourself. You can't do that when you're not taking care of things. I'm not saying you got to be 100%, but we have to be able to build our mental fortitude. I'm not saying like going on freaking 100K runs. Like that stuff is different because that stuff is just a Band-Aid to like getting a good foundation of mental recovery. That doesn't make you mentally stronger. That just makes you good at doing that. It's great. You put yourself in an uncomfortable position, but hey, we're going to be in uncomfortable positions our whole life. So good on you for that. But where's the consistency of the other things that you're going to need to make rational decisions and to stay consistent on a healthy lifestyle for the rest of your life? So, number one mental recovery technique, and I don't care where you live, I don't care what weather it is, get your ass out in nature. Hiking, walking in nature. Profound benefits on mental health. Being at one with nature. Doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if you live in Alaska, because Angela, if you look at my YouTube feed, Angela is watching the Outdoor Brothers or Outdoor Boys or whatever this guy is. He's amazing. But he lives in Alaska. He camps in Alaska. He's always out in nature with his kids, with his boys. I guess that's what his father did for him. So the weather you can't even use that as an excuse. Get out in natural environments. It decreases cortisol levels. It enhances your mood. It reduces your feelings of stress and anxiety. Studies show that. 90 minutes of walking in nature, huge. And making that an ongoing thing. Getting out. Like Angela's the queen of her hikes. Like, again, there's no compromising on certain things in your life. Right? When your life is built around your own health as opposed to implementing your health around your life, that's the difference, man. Now we're at a point in our lives where our health is the center of everything. Nothing trumps it. Our kids don't trump our health. Our wives don't trump our health. Nothing trumps your health. Period. Nothing. Not at this time. So if you have to rewire your mind because you're putting your kids first, you're putting your wife first, you're putting your career first, it's time to rewire because your kids, your wife, and your career and whatever else you do won't have the best you can give them if you're not healthy. You're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. So we've got to focus on putting in resources and tools like getting out in nature. And I don't care if you I live in the middle of Toronto. Now, I must say we do have a park right here called High Park, but I don't generally go to High Park. We'll drive an hour and a half out and enjoy nature. Rattlesnake, Crawford Lake, all these different places. Find it around you and use it. Yeah, that's just not even a question. It could be a regular park. Doesn't matter. You don't have to go from zero to hero. But get out there, man. Get out there because you're hiking, you're using the movement patterns that you may not be used to moving. Yeah, man. Keep going. Mindful meditation. So I did a coaching call last year on mindful meditation, coming out with a mindful meditation program, 21-day meditation program for you because most men don't know how to meditate. But why would we know anyway? Like why we're too busy with our careers and our kids and our driving so-and-so to hockey and this and that and everybody, dealing with our ex-wives and, whatever, all the other shit that we put in front of our own health. Nah, man, you got to get regular mindfulness, regular meditation. It enhances your mental clarity, reduces stress. It promotes hormonal balance. Study after study after study after study tells you the same thing. Enhances your mood. But the thing is, it's very difficult for us because, there's so many different meditation techniques and things out there that it is very difficult to know which is the right one, which is the one we should do, which one, how many days, how long, should I be just listening to something? Do I just sit down? How do I meditate? So I created that meditation to kind of take you through that first, okay, this is a guided meditation, just listen and listen. 8 different ones, I think, and you just every day turn it on, get into that position and listen. Because what that's going to do is it's going to start to give you the benefits of slowing down, opening your mind, and just listening and doing nothing. And just following the cues. And then you just start to feel, okay, right? Because we just need we just need something that, okay, I've been doing this now. Okay, now I'm open to finding new techniques. I'm open to see, okay, I like that. But, maybe I didn't like it that much. It was pretty good, but I think I need a little bit something different. Let me look for something different. Let me try this, right? Then you're going to keep trying different things until you hit it. Because one's not going to be perfect. You're not going to get on the first time. Remember, this is 40, 50, 60 years of meditation. So you got a lot of time to find the right one. You don't have to rush to find it. Same with breathwork. I'm working on a breathwork program because, again, most men don't know how to breathe properly. We're breathing from here instead of breathing from the diaphragm. And not only that, there's a lot of great breathing techniques that we can use. Box breathing, different counting techniques, 4-7-8 technique, all these different techniques that allow us to calm our mind and regulate our body's stress response, right? Because we want to manage our anxiety. We want to improve our sleep quality. We want to reduce blood pressure. All of these things are important for our overall health and longevity. So learning breath work routine. So I'm working on that right now, taking you through 7 or 8 different breathing sessions, box breathing, timed breathing, just different. There's so many, but if we can just start with something that allows you to do it on a daily basis so you get benefits, then you manage your anxiety. Then you learn how to use certain techniques in certain situations. Man, my boss was really rough on me today, probably because he's got something going on. So I'm not going to blame him. He's probably got something going on. He's probably got pressures that I don't even know. And he's taking it out on me, and I'm good because I can take all of that pressure from him and let him do what he needs to do because that's the type of guy I am. I understand that he's probably dealing with something right now that I don't know, and I'm not taking it personal. Even because if I didn't do anything and all of a sudden he came in here screaming and shouting, so am I going to take it personal? Go, how dare he treat me like that? How dare you? Do you know how many years I've been here? And then you get in your car and you're driving home. How dare that man freaking, oh, this guy just cut me off. And now the guy's cut you off. Your boss just came in. And now you go home and now you're spewing all that shit out to your wife and your kids. Your wife and kids don't care about how your boss treated you. Your wife and kids want their father home, their husband home. But And now you're taking that to bed, and now you're taking that to the next day. And now you're not working out because this guy treated you like shit. Now you're eating pizza and fucking whatever else. Instead of, okay, yeah, come in, shout, yeah, no problem, yeah, oh, yep, cool, yep, I'll get that done, no problem. Right? Understanding that maybe in a couple hours he may come back in and go, hey man, I'm really sorry about that. That wasn't about you. But how do you deal with it? Well, you know some breathing techniques that you can use after he's gone. Settle yourself down to make rational decisions. Understand that probably doing something's going on in his life because it is very uncharacteristic of someone to come into a room and shout. So there's got to be something going on. And I don't even need an apology. I because I'm here, I can understand those things. Like having those techniques allow you to, navigate through things like that in a stoic way, but not in a stoic way where I got to show like this. It's in a stoic way where I have the tools to allow me to relax, breathe. Maybe I'll meditate a little bit. Maybe I'll just breathe and use that box breathing or whatever breathing it is to allow me to just manage that stress, bring the cortisol levels down, and start making sound decisions, letting that go, and doing whatever your boss came in to tell you to do. And same with journaling and gratitude practice. I mean, I have a whole journaling, I put these in place, gratitude, challenge, writing in your gratitude journal every single day, right? Like every day. I mean, this is since January of 2024. This is my 2024 one. So it's every day, right? It's almost done. Like it just sets your day off on an incredibly powerful, thankful emotion of positivity. So much positivity happens when you do that. In fact, I feel like guys are afraid to do this because they're afraid that they don't deserve to feel good about their lives. They're afraid, and I'm just saying this, I'm just challenging. I'm hoping some people will take this and go, Specifically people who don't do gratitude, because again, studies, like the 3 last things I shared with you, the breathing, meditation, journaling, gratitude journal, you could go back 50 years and they're still saying the same thing. And people who actually implement this stuff will tell you how they feel better on a consistent basis. Not, oh, I tried journaling, it didn't work. Oh, I tried this and I did. You just, trying and doing are 2 different things. Trying is kind of like, I'm going to try this. And if I don't feel immediate 2-3 days, it didn't work. That's how the mindset of people who say, I'm going to try this. They're trying, they say the word try so they leave a door open so that they can tap out, so they can quit. That's why people try, so they can quit. You try so you can quit. And then have some stupid, what's the word I'm looking for? like to be able to go, well, you know, I tried it for a couple of days. It didn't work. So, I quit. But I tried. That's it. But I tried. Oh, but I tried, those three words. They don't run well with me. They don't run well with me. They don't run well with me. Yeah, I did it. I did it for this long or what have you. And, maybe I need to use something else, to find something else. You just do it. You don't try, you just do it. Because when you commit to doing something, you're committing to a long-term commitment. When you try something, because when we usually try something, like, oh, I'm gonna try this, your wife says, oh, just try this. Already you're just like, I don't want to try it. So it's a negative connotation to the word try, that people start to use that as a way to get out. 1,000,000%. 100%. 100%. If you're in leadership, you know exactly. You've heard it many times from people who you lead. I'll try it. You're not trying it. You're doing it. You're gonna do it. Anyways, implement journaling and gratitude practices. Please, you don't need the Alpha Gratitude Journal. You can just use a cahier, which is what I'm using over here for my dailies. I use a Sujet cahier. In French, notebook in English. But yeah, definitely. And then at nighttime, one of the tips and tricks that I use, write down the 3 things that you want to get done the next day. Write down 3 things you want to get done the next day before you go to bed, or, as you're calming yourself down, because this is also going to calm down the cortisol. If you have 3 things, or 2 or 1, but I usually say 3, and then write down how you're going to execute all 3 of those. And then you don't have to think about it. You can go to sleep without thinking about it, without it being in here, because you've already written down exactly what you're going to do tomorrow. Now, if it may not work out 100%, but you have a plan of attack, and you know how good you feel when you wake up in the morning and you open up that journal and you see that, or the to-do list, or however you do it, and you see you already have the plan of attack of what's going on that next day. You've already planted the seed in how you're going to execute those 3 things that you need to get done in that next day. And then you go to your gratitude journal, you go to your meditation, you go to breathwork. Your day you're starting off your day on fire. On fire. And that's your everyday? Come on, man. If you're not implementing these things, there's a reason. And that reason is our 4th technique, and that's you need to seek out therapy. You need to get professional therapy so that you understand, or someone can help you understand. Maybe they take you through cognitive behavior therapy. Maybe it's counseling. You have unresolved issues that are causing you not to do the things that are healthy for you to do, knowing that they are going to make significant changes in your life for the positive. There's something going on. At this age, if you're still making those types of, if you're still battling with consistency and workouts and knowing that you have something there and you're still battling, you got to go see somebody. You got to go get some counseling and therapy. 100%. I get therapy. I get counseling. I haven't gone for a while because I haven't needed it, but I don't go when I need it. I don't go when because I don't get depressed or anything like that. I just go when, I just need I just need to talk it out and just kind of like get some therapy, just some counseling, some therapy. This is where I'm at right now. Things are a little bit hectic right now. So I just want to talk this out. I'll go 4 sessions. Let's talk. Let's just talk. Right. Now, before I went, because, I had some issues I needed to take care of. And it was so enlightening for me, like for instance, like when I was younger, I grew up in an area, again, we grew up in a time, I don't know, not everybody. So I'm going to say everybody, but I grew up in a time and in a place, lower income, where like people were having sex when they're like 11, 12, right? We had 15-year-olds having kids, right? But my babysitter at that time had sex with me, right? So she was like 14 and I was like 8. And at the time, you're just, oh man, I'm just my 14-year-old, whatever is, but that incident and what that was happening caused something in my life, because I never told anybody, to start. That's when some of the decisions I started to make, and it didn't really pop up again until I was a little bit older, like in probably my 30s. That kind of, my behavior was very dark. And, I started to think back about it. And then my wife said something about, well, she raped you, man. She raped you. Because, I brought it up to my wife later on. She's like, oh, because, us guys go, yeah, I lost my virginity. I was 8, my babysitter. Probably some of you guys have the same babysitter story too. Or a girl that was around that was a little bit older. And when you think about the oh man, maybe I was raped. But then when I talked to my counselor, he's like, well, hold on a minute. How old were you? 8. How old was she? 14. Okay, so you both were kids. She's 14, but she's still not all there, meaning, prefrontal cortex, you're 8. So don't you think that, like, although this isn't right, but she's not in a like, if she was 25, 26, totally different. But 14, 8, like, this is not something that you need to hang on to. And that made sense to me. And that allowed me to let it go. Because I was holding on to that and it was causing me to make stupid decisions. Because I had labeled it as being raped. So I just let that go. I forgave, let it go. I mean, I didn't walk up to her, forgive her, because I don't know where she is. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like when someone who has professional experience can talk you through certain things, then allows you to let go, because we have to let go of everything there. Like, we can't, everything that's from May 3rd back, there's nothing we can do about that stuff. So holding on to things isn't going to help. We have to get it out. We have to, either deal with it and deal with certain things in a way. We have to forgive in a certain way. We have to just bring it to the light in a certain way. We have to, but we can't do it alone. We need a therapist. We need a counselor. We need someone who has experience in allowing us to do that. So get it. Life or death, man. Life, specifically if you're having problems, if you just can't understand why you're doing certain things all the time, even though you have the solution, you got to see therapy. It's that simple. Specifically at our lives, at our age, because we are guys who don't talk about things. We just keep it underneath. And there's many guys out there we all have shit, man. Most of us, I can't say all because I don't know if all of you guys, but I'm sure there's a lot of us that have a lot of shit that happened when we were younger and in our teens and in our 20s and whenever, that we are not proud of. But we got to let that go. And we can't just let it go. We have to get help to let it go. We got to bring it to light. So find a therapist. Go to BetterHelp. BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com. Right there. And even if you don't think you need anything, you need some help. If you keep making mistakes, you need some help, man. All right. We're going to wrap up here with the other thing, too, is hobbies and lifestyles, right? Like self-love. Do things that you love to do. Go back to something that brings you joy, something that you love. A hobby is something that you love. It doesn't matter. You will learn everything about it. You will do everything about it. You don't even think of time when you're doing your hobby. You're just loving everything. You can't wait to do it. Get a hobby. Get something that will help you with your mental recovery. Doesn't matter what it is. Could be music. Could be building something. Could be a sport you used to play. Something that you used to love or you want to explore that's going to bring you happiness, joy, and mitigate the feelings of stress. And if you can do it in a social environment, it would be even better, because we don't want to isolate ourselves, because we also isolate a lot. And then, of course, our lifestyle factors are going to help too, right? Like sleep, nutrition, workouts, all of those things are going to help with the mental side of recovery. And so now I'm just going to finally touch on some supplements for recovery, right? Because there are certain supplements that are kind of really good for physical recovery and certain supplements that are really good for mental recovery. So protein, awesome for physical recovery. We already know supports muscle repair, growth, essential for recovery, specifically after your workouts, but on immunity, there's so much because most guys don't get enough protein. So we need to get, enough protein, and using a grass-fed whey protein powder and having that in your toolbox is huge. Creatine, another one, helps with muscle mass, helps with strength, helps with exercise performance, helps with brain health. Again, the most studied supplement on the planet with the most positive review. I think there may be just, out of all of the studies that have happened since creatine supplement was invented, I think there's maybe one negative out of the thousands probably by now. And specifically for us guys our age, creatine for sure. Omega-3s. Omega-3s are an anti-inflammatory supplement along with all of the other amazing things it does, but we're just talking about it on the physical recovery. I mean, you all already know the cholesterol piece of it, healthy fats. You already know most of us are deficient of omega-3s. We have too much omega-6, so we got to flip the script. And most of us don't eat enough foods that have omega-3s in it remember, this is on a consistent basis. We're not talking on a, like yesterday I had tuna sashimi. That doesn't mean that, I get omega-3s from food. Yeah, I just have tuna sashimi yesterday, but I don't know, next time I'm going to have tuna sashimi. So I supplement with it. Helps with muscle soreness, helps speed up recovery, helps with inflammation. Magnesium, right? It's important for muscle function and repair. It helps with reducing cramps and muscle soreness. And I also still think BCAAs are great. I know everyone's saying, BCAAs, amino acids, blah, blah, blah. I personally think BCAAs are a great way, specifically as we're getting older. Our room for error is here, man. So why would we want to play with that? If we can set up our body with an environment that'll help it recover, why wouldn't we? Now, mental recovery, on the other hand, there are 5 great supplements. You're going to see a couple of them already. Magnesium, once again, supports nervous system function, reduces stress and anxiety, and enhances mental recovery. In fact, we have that magnesium inside Alpha Max 3D. Omega-3s, so like I mentioned before, omega-3s supports brain health and cognitive functions, right? And reduces depression and anxiety, which again is why we should be supplementing with omega-3. If you're not supplementing with omega-3s, go see a therapist. Go see a therapist. Ashwagandha, another fantastic adaptogen that helps our body manage stress. It improves our brain. It reduces anxiety. It reduces depression. We got it in Alpha Max S3D. L-theanine also promotes relaxation, right? So you're going to be relaxed. So this is probably the freaking thing. The L-theanine inside our Alpha Max test is 100% the reason why I feel more relaxed. Like 2 days ago, so yesterday was my Harvard presentation. We had to do a presentation as the second final thing for my course for this semester. And on Wednesday, when I was talking to my mother, I was telling her all these things. I got this, I got the testosterone masterclass I'm doing, I got this, I got to do my presentation, I got to go over whatever and all these things. And then she said to me, with all those things you said just now, you look so relaxed. You look so relaxed. I'm like, yeah, these things are happening, but I already know how I'm going to attack them, so I'm chill. And this has been happening more and more. Angela's like, how come you're always smiling? Like, your wives always think you're up to something when they see you smiling. I think a comedian has a joke like that. It's like whenever you laugh or smile, like that used to happen with Angela all the time, but now I just smile all the time, so it's normal for her. But yeah, man, I'm just like with the amount of stuff that's going on right now and the things I'm doing, both for myself, for the program, for work. It's just like you get that relaxation, which is why L-theanine is really good. And B complex vitamins, essential for energy production and brain function as well, and also reduces stress. all which are in this, by the way, except for the omega-3s. I have an omega-3 supplement. But you don't have to use these. You can just go out and get all 5 of those supplements. So, on a whole, we've covered a lot, right? We've covered both the physical and mental recovery. First of all, we covered what's happening physiologically in our body to understand why mental recovery and physical recovery both are important. Physical recovery, of course, for enhancing muscle, decreasing injury, helping us to be more consistent, right? More mobility, more flexibility, which will allow us to get stronger. In the end, we'll become stronger, not just in the gym, but outside of the gym. Our functional strength. It'll help us prevent overtraining. And then we talked about ways we can do that. We should all be foam rolling every day, 5 minutes a day. Go grab a foam roller, go jump on the foam roller program, and it's 5 minutes a day. That's it. It's the easiest thing to do. We don't sacrifice a warm up or post stretch. We use recovery routines on our days, right? Mobility or yoga or Pilates or any of the recovery routines that we can do. Sauna, if you have a sauna, or invest in a sauna, man. Invest in a little sauna. The benefits from a sauna are so overwhelming that investing in a little sauna, a portable sauna, is like probably the best investment because it's very inexpensive. Adding other things like massage guns, if you want to do a cold plunge once in a while, go for it. Jump in the ocean, jump in the water, jump in the lake. Then we have mental recovery, right? We talked about the importance of being mentally healthy, right? Techniques. Hiking, walking in nature, mindfulness, meditation, breath work, journaling and gratitude journaling, going to see a therapist, specifically if we keep making mistakes or irrational behavior. That is a telltale sign at our age as men in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who have the life that we have, who know right from wrong, who know what will help, what works and what doesn't, who knows that if they have a blueprint put in front of them on how to do something, if they have the answers to an exam, if I gave you the answers to the exam tomorrow, here are the answers. These are the exact answers, 100%. All you have to do is take your pen and write the answer down. When the exam question comes up, you can even have this right beside you. You don't even have to memorize it. I'm literally giving these to you. And then you take the pen, and if the answer for number 1 is A, and you look at answer number 1 is A, and then you look at the questions and you start to ponder, and then you circle B, you need a therapist. Because there's something going on here. When you know that you have the blueprint to getting the best results and you're hijacking or sabotaging yourself or not trusting in the process, there's something going on. Specifically, if someone at our age told you that here are the answers, they're all there. Every single person who used this to answer the questions to this test got 100%. That's it. That's probably the clearest way that this can be explained to you. You have a program that all you have to do is follow it and just stay consistent and follow it. Literally. You don't even have to guess at the workouts. You don't even have to figure out the exercises. The nutrition is very simple. Sure, it takes a while to get used to, but if someone tells you all you have to do is put this on your plate and this works, and then as you figure out that, okay, these are the things I need on my plate, every single 3 times a day. And then after a week or 2, if I'm still feeling tired or I still have a sweet tooth, then we just adjust and put more carbs. And that's really the only real thing that we may need to adjust. You have a list of foods to choose from. It's pretty simple. But people want to, how many calories? Oh, this is not right. This doesn't work. Oh, this is not the same as this. Okay, just throw all that out and make sure you have this on your plate. Let's get the behavior of putting the right foods and then stay away from these foods. Pretty simple. You got recovery routines already built in. Simple. It's like 100. You show up to coaching calls. Simple. You got someone who's going to coach you on a weekly basis. Like, it's a blueprint for success. You just have to do the work. Just execute day in and day out. It's the easiest thing to do. But if you find yourself always falling off, can't stay consistent, always having a sweet tooth, not being able to work out, and it's consistent, there's something going on, man. You gotta face your demons. Because time is ticking. And it's ticking fast because the time it speeds up when we get older. The body breakdown speeds up as we get older. And then get a hobby, do a lot of self-love, things that you love to do, and then supplement, right? As we get older, we got to supplement. Strong believer in supplementation, man. So we talked about those supplements, and now we know, like, this is a very important part in our overall life and health. But as we get older, you'll start to see that the recovery part, the mobility, the flexibility, the functional movements, the ability to jump and land safely, those are the things that we're going to value more than getting into the gym, getting into a workout. It's going to be the mobility stuff and seeing the difference your body feels on a daily basis. And then seeing how much more and how faster you're able to build muscle and burn fat. So with that, hopefully, did you guys like that? Did you guys learn anything? Are you going to take one thing from that? Are you going to go see a therapist? Let us know. And again, we don't judge. I'm done.